feeling.
That's it.
Oh, okay. My favorite scent. Chocolate is a good scent. That's exciting.
Mhm.
I know chocolate is a reward system for me.
You get
So
dopamine.
yeah. And if I'm feeling low, and girls feel low regularly every month, chocolate. I have chocolate, and it's like I'm treating myself well. It's my version of self-care. And I saw a psychologist once, and I told her that. She said, it's not good to associate sugar with rewards, like, because parents do that with little kids when they're naughty. They're like, don't be naughty, have lollies. Anyway, it's sort of like an interesting pathway. Anyway, what's your favorite scent?
That's interesting. So do you blame your parents for you being conditioned for chocolate?
I don't know, because I've got no traumatic memory of me sugar at some point. So
Easter.
actually, no. As I said, that one came back. That's crazy. Let's do therapy.
David,
hey, what's up, David D?
We got five now. Is there like, is the light?
Is the light making us look good?
Let's just have. Just have like a rolling. The shutter is.
There is a rolling.
I'm just gonna switch this off for a second.
The rolling.
It's not that one. It's not that one.
It's the webcam.
It's this one.
Oh, okay. We can do a candlelight stream. Yeah. What about
where's the
candlelight stream?
Is this one?
Yeah. Welcome to our vigils. Yeah,
that's better.
That looks really good. Eat us back in the house.
So one week we're gonna have an argument, an ethical dilemma.
Yeah.
And it's about an episode of Voyager, Star Trek Voyager, and I want Eden to be in because it's about whether Janeway is a murderer or not. The captain. She potentially murdered one of her staff. Very interesting bioethics question. I'm gonna write that down as a topic for next week.
We're
all gonna watch it.
Put it on the back of our paper. We've got a piece of paper with all the topics that we're talking about. And it's funny, and because with your skull and my candle, it does look like a candlelight vigil. Who are we mourning today?
Oh, actually, very topical. Very, very topical. Did you see what happened over in the UK?
Oh yeah, the woman that was murdered by a
cop. Who will watch the Watchmen? Well, the cops are certainly enforced. So then there was some protests, and I think there was problems with them being in lockdown. The police went out and violently assaulted, which is tragic, but it's a bit of a worry.
That's a super worry.
What we need is Uber for cops, where you can give them a rating.
Uber for cops. Oh, I was thinking like, why do you want the cops to pick you up? But no, you meant like a rating system. Yeah.
And they can give you a lift home. And if they give you a lift home, 5 stars.
And if they give you a lift home. So they've picked you up for drunk, disorderly behavior on the street. And you're like, okay, can you take me home? It's true, I'm a bit drunk. I probably should head home, but...
Did you say that? I don't.
It's a fictional scenario.
Yeah.
And then he drops you home, you're like,
yeah, or my house got robbed, the cops actually followed up with the police report.
Oh, I love this.
Yeah.
This is a startup idea.
Now, my private police, we're going to become libertarians in no time. So the other thing that they might want to do is maybe you could have something like the different aspects of their policing. So when you get the Uber delivery, Uber Eats, they're like, how was the spring rolls? How was the beef and black bean? How was the delivery? It's like every single component is analyzed, right? Yeah. So it might be like, oh, he gave you a fine, but was he nice when he did it? Right? Or she explained the law to you before she gave you the fine. So even though you might disagree with it, they would, right? Like, more so than they already are.
The only part of that is that, of course, every Uber driver rates you. So we, as the criminal, do we get a rating as well?
Yeah.
From the policeman? Yeah.
Of course we do.
About how compliant we were?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I got a fine the other day.
Oh.
Not from a police officer, from a parking officer.
Yeah.
And I said, I tried to get out of it. She was writing.
What charm did you employ?
She was writing the ticket as she was lifting it up and putting it underneath. Oh, please don't give me a ticket. I was making coronavirus tests, which I actually was. And she's like, oh, well, I can't undo it.
Yeah.
Because I already pushed the button.
There's a button.
Once you push the button, it's there. But she goes, I can add a note to the file and say you were polite.
Oh.
And I said, and handsome. And she goes, I can't lie. Fucking bitch.
That is a great story.
I would have given her a thumbs up, 5 stars. You know what? Good bands. Good bands. So when we started, I was asking, what's your favourite scent?
Yeah, so I think I really like the scent of chocolate. Or you know, for me, it's not necessarily a certain perfume. Actually, I have like allergies, so I have sensitivity.
Really?
So if someone's wearing like
sensitivity.
scent sensitivity, I'm sensitive.
Yeah.
Sensual.
Yeah.
Soul and
Someone's wearing heavy perfume.
Sorry, perfume or cologne, or someone's wearing like really strong deodorant. I'll start sneezing and I'm like, oh, everything gets red.
It's no good.
So
You're a little nerd.
So a little nerd. So
Yeah.
I avoid in general. That's why I'm always El Natural. I mean, you guys can't smell me here, but Meow can, and it's, you know, haven't showered in days.
We're both El Natural.
El Natural.
Yeah, I don't like wearing deodorants.
Ah, and there's like a crystal one that's like natural and stuff. So how do you? Because you don't smell. You don't really smell, to be honest.
Thank you. I want that fucking recorded. Timestamp that. I want. Yeah. Well, I'm a nerd too, so I just like start by not exercising. That's a really good one. But if I do exercise, I actually sweat quite a lot. So I shower lots, but also like deodorants, a lot of aerosol deodorants like Lynx and Axe body spray and all this, they're really bad for you.
Yeah, why are they bad for you?
They have aluminium particles in them. And aluminium is a really potent.
Particles.
Yeah, it's nanoparticles, and they get absorbed by your blood, and they're a really potent neurotoxin.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and like there's these weird things like aluminium, BPA. I'm just trying to think of other ones. Phthalates. There's weird classes of drugs that are just super toxic, and everyone's just like, okay.
Oh yeah.
They can't be that bad, otherwise they would like regulate them. And it's like, no.
Why they're not being regulated? Because there's not enough evidence or research into.
Who fucking knows?
Yeah, maybe all these people are getting autoimmune conditions. They don't know why.
And I think part of it is like with BPA, it's just too hard.
What's BPA stand for?
Bisphenol A.
Oh.
It's just in fucking everything. You see a lot of these things. They'll say like let's have a look. Say BPA free. A lot of them will say like, yeah, there we go. BPA free. It says you have to trust me on that one because it's really bad, right? But they can't really enforce it because everything's got it. All the plastics, fucking receipts.
Receipts have them.
When it does the ink, the thermo ink, it's BPA. So like it's so in everything that they're like, oh, we can't just get rid of it straight away.
Is it a toxin? Could you call that?
Yeah, I think it feminizes men.
It feminizes men?
Yeah.
That's not a problem.
I've got my hair up, so
Eden says, doesn't it contribute to Alzheimer's? Or am I making that up?
No.
Are you making that up?
So aluminium definitely contributes to neurodegenerative diseases, including Alzheimer's. There might be links to other things as well, but without a doubt. And there's actually a whole bunch of that. Also, I made a Facebook status update talking about that AstraZeneca is the Wish version of the vaccine. I want to revise that.
Wish being the really sort of cheap online marketplace as compared to, I don't know, Amazon or something.
Yeah. So I'm going to revise it. Pfizer is the Myers of vaccine, and I'd say AstraZeneca is like, what's a budget version of Myers, but still very upper class? David Jones, or is David Jones better?
I think David Jones and Myers like same level.
Is one slightly better than the other?
I think it's
where do you shop?
The same. Neither. Cotton On.
Okay, yeah, maybe like Cotton On. Maybe. Non-stop research. I changed my mind. AstraZeneca vaccine's fine.
Guys, do you hear that? The AstraZeneca vaccine.
Take it. Get your jab.
Get your jab. So is it like percentage-wise, Pfizer and AstraZeneca? Like Pfizer's 90%, AstraZeneca's 80,
basically,
70, or
I would say it's like the difference is minimal because there's only like I was worried about a few weird things that might happen. But when I did my research, they're so rare that there's no case that it's better not to take it.
Yeah.
Like there's absolutely no case. The worst case of these vaccines that I was like, oh, what about if this weird thing happens, right? The chance of happening is so low that any COVID is worse.
Any COVID is worse.
If COVID caused you to stub your toe, it would be worse. Like so yeah.
Wow.
Anyway,
okay.
that's just for the record. There we go.
Awesome. Good to know. Till Thumb. That's a cool name. The deodorants with aluminium are the antiperspirant ones.
That's correct, because aluminium goes and clogs the fucking pores.
Oh, Oh, okay.
So the deodorants I wear are not antiperspirant. They just kind of mask the smell.
Kind of mask the smell. Okay.
Yeah.
How many showers do you have?
Depends.
Like daily?
Summer?
Just curious. Yeah.
Up to 3.
Up to 3.
But
Yeah.
I love showers.
You love showers. Hot or cold or medium?
Depends.
Or...
Maybe I have a hot one. Maybe I have a cold one.
Yeah.
Who knows? Keep you
That's
guessing.
it. You know what? To be honest, just you're keeping away from the BPA or
BPAs.
BPAs.
Yeah.
Doesn't smell. It's all good.
It's good. But
It's
plus,
good.
showers are a nice contemplative time, I think. You can like clean your body, clean your mind. You get no one hassles you. Switch your phone off.
Yeah.
It's nice. Get away from it.
Nice.
Yeah. In winter though, not as much. Like
A body wash is okay? Probably not.
body wash generally okay.
It's just a soap. It's just a topic, really.
Yeah, and I think everyone's different as well.
Mm.
There's certain chemicals you got to watch out for, but a lot of people are like, I think people can get worried about the wrong chemicals. But like also some people who have skin conditions, they might actually be careful about certain chemicals, and then other people get worried about those, thinking they're bad, but they're only bad if you have bad skin or something like that, right?
I can't use Colgate toothpaste because
Colgate?
yeah, I'm trying to narrow it down. It's either the whitener in the toothpaste or the it's the soap that makes it. It's a soapy sort of
SLS.
Maybe it's SLS. It gives me only within the past year like a sort of rash here. I sort of start to look like the Joker.
Full on.
Yeah. So I mean, it would be like a dress-up party coming up soon, but just Joker it up. But
brilliant white teeth.
So yeah, I started getting this weird. It's like red rash. So I have to use this really like natural toothpaste now.
Which one? Charcoal?
The tea tree. There's like this tea tree.
So guess my favorite scent is tea tree.
That was your favorite scent? What a wonderful way to round that conversation.
So I fucking love tea tree. Tea tree's Australian too, right?
Yeah.
We export it to the rest of the world. But it's super nice, the smell of tea tree. So I have a tea tree face scrub that I will use every day, and then I have a tea tree moisturizer I use every night.
Lovely.
To try and get rid of my bags that will never go away because they're an inherent part of who I am.
And it's antibacterial, isn't it, tea tree?
Yeah. What Nathan Waters? Vape's like a vacuum, but won't use antiperspirant because chemicals. I quit vaping.
Wait, vape like a vacuum, but
I vaped. I used to vape up until December. I quit vaping. So I quit vaping for Christmas.
Ooh.
But I'm actually worried about the nicotine's a neuroprotective chemical.
Is it? Ooh.
Now I have a mental illness that causes an overexcitation of my neurons, similar to what happens with people with COVID, right?
Excitation? Is that like exciting?
Excitotoxicity. The neurons are activated too much.
They're too activated. The neurons in his brain are too activated. Can you explain that a little bit more?
Yeah. So basically, when a neuron fires, it depolarizes. So the charge on the inside and the outside swaps, and it zips along, and then it releases some chemicals.
Is it moving electrons around or not?
Kind of. It moves charged particles, which has to do with electrons. So basically, we have a positive and a negative on either side of a membrane. Mm-hmm. When it depolarizes, it swaps them.
Okay.
And then that causes like a domino effect to go all the way down from one end of the neuron all the way to the other side, and then when it hits the end, it squirts out some serotonin or some dopamine or some other neurotransmitter, right? And then if enough of it goes to the next neuron and its charging potential is right, it will depolarize, and that cascades not just through the individual nerves, but through the nerve to nerve, and that's how you think, right?
This sounds like an evolutionary advantage to just
super useful. Animals have this, and that's what makes us able to eat plants, right?
Animals have this?
Yep, because we have central nervous systems.
Yes.
Yeah. There's also basically when this happens too much, the nerves can get exhausted and die.
Oh, okay.
Now, COVID causes the viral particles attack the neurons so much that they get too excited and they burn out. So the reason you can't smell is because all the neurons involved in the smell are being absolutely bombarded by COVID particles, and it causes them to be excited and in some cases die.
Right.
Some people get their smell back after COVID, some people don't. And they're actually worried that now there's a long-term effect of who was it? Someone was talking about today. Some degenerative condition later on in life as a side effect of COVID. So we're going to see a long tail on
for sure. For
COVID
all the
long
long COVID sufferers and COVID long haulers. Yeah.
But hopefully we're going to see some treatments come out about that. So, investment into neuroregeneration and neuroplasticity.
That sounds great just in general. And I think that's one positive of COVID is that all this wonderful research is going into these issues.
Definitely. There's tons of money going into it because everyone realized you can't run a bullshit startup or a blockchain if you don't have fucking people alive to be able to use it. Speaking of blockchains, we had a big event this week.
I know. I want to jump into that, but I still want to ask you more questions about the excitability of central nervous system and neurons and failing. We quickly just mentioned, so we talked about that happening within the nose and people using sound. What else can that happen if it's sort of, the central nervous system's the one that's being affected by this overexcitability? Are there any other dominant areas that can be affected?
Everything.
Oh, everything. Okay.
But there's certain chemicals that focus on certain parts of the brain. So there actually might be a link between, it's called glutamate excitotoxicity. Okay. People have tried to link it to MSG, which is really interesting because if you've eaten MSG, it is a very exciting chemical. I love it. Yeah. But it might cause neurodegeneration. But the jury's out. I've read both sides. Okay. No one knows for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Sorry, thank you for clarifying that. Do we want to just check the comments?
So whitening toothpaste is gumption for your teeth. Have you used gumption before?
Gumption is like the type of cleaning agent. And it can clean like anything. It feels sort of like squishy, like
liquid
like
concrete
clay,
or something. Yeah, like clay. It's gritty.
Yeah.
And it like polishes as it goes, right?
It polishes. Is it like gumption for
your teeth? And when you do it, excellence in dendrites, by the way, is correct. Yeah, so it's like scraping away. So I think Eden's trying to say, don't use the whitening toothpaste every day. Maybe it's just a polish for a party.
The issue is I don't use whitening toothpaste. Just Colgate all seem to have whitening in all.
Optical whiteners.
So they're already in there, even if they're not specifying that they are. Like a whitening version of the Colgate toothpaste. So yeah, I just. I don't know. The teeth are looking okay. I actually started using baking soda just to try and remove a bit of any plaque that builds up. But I might have to go one day and just get them whitened if they just go really yellow or something.
I think just the act of brushing gets rid of. So why do we brush our teeth? They always say in ads, it's to get rid of food in there. It's not to get rid of the plaque, right? It's the biofilm of bacteria.
The biofilm.
Yeah, so it's basically bacteria growing in a sheet across your teeth. That's what you're really getting off. Now, there are some people in America who I won't name who are working. In fact, there's a few different groups around the world working on this, which is working on bacteria that if you put them inside your mouth will cause you to never have another cavity for the rest of your life.
Wow.
It's only one type of bacteria that causes cavities, strep mutescens.
Okay.
And it has a lactic acid pathway that dissolves your teeth. There are strep mutescens that are lactic acid deficient. So they can live in your mouth, but they'll eat the food, but not your teeth.
Right. I wonder if we had them in the past.
Maybe.
I wonder if we had that bacteria. I don't know.
Well,
in earlier times.
There is ways that we can. It makes sense because why would it want to put holes in the teeth, right? Because it would kill the host. So there's got to be some benefit to doing it.
Ooh, for the bacteria.
It allows it to live, but the other bacteria can't get in there. So that's why it's better. But if you're keeping it alive enough, maybe it didn't care. Maybe it started from us brushing our teeth.
Oh, maybe that's true.
Maybe it's big toothpaste trying to fucking get you to buy more of that
product. Instead of Big Pharma, big toothpaste coming for you.
That's it, with the optical whiteners and their...
Big toothpaste has come for me hard, yeah.
I heard a really good conspiracy this week. Yeah. It may be the craziest thing I've ever heard.
Oh, you've had a lot of crazy conspiracies. All right, what's
you ready?
This one? I'm ready.
Do you want to hear it?
Oh, are you ready?
Oh, fuck. Okay. Elon Musk gave birth to a baby that's actually... Do you know who Elon Musk's ex-wife? Sorry, we'll start again. Do you know who Elon Musk's ex-wife is?
No. I know that he has several kids from his ex-wife.
Amber Heard.
Oh, wait, did they get married? Oh, he had a wife before Amber Heard as well.
Okay, so him and Amber Heard, which I didn't realize, she's just broken up with Johnny. And Elon Musk went in and said, Amber, no matter what happens, I'll always look like. And supposedly there's a conspiracy theory that they have 12 embryos that they made IVF while they were together.
Wow.
Now, supposedly she has some of them and she's trying to impregnate herself to get Elon Musk's fortune. This is conspiracy theory, by the way. But Grimes has one of them and put it inside and gave birth to it, and it's not Grimes' baby, it's fucking Elon and Amber's baby. So what's the kid's name?
Oh, Zay,
X,
A-E,
X,
but it's like the A and E are together.
The Ash, so X, crossbreed, A, Amber, E, Elon, A, and then the X12, XI, that's the number embryo.
Number embryo.
Boom.
Yes.
So,
figured it out.
I think he was trolling Amber Heard by giving it his name so she'll know that it's actually.
Crack the case.
And Elon is making a master race. This is part of it too.
Oh,
So you heard it here. That's right. There's no benefit to brushing your teeth
teeth,
unless you like cavities. Okay, that's very interesting.
There's no benefit to not brushing your teeth. And I like the emoji at the end of it.
Okay, so you can get Colgate with hydrogen peroxide in it. Hydrogen peroxide is actually really cool because it's actually quite safe for you.
Yeah, right.
Because your body has lots of mechanisms to get rid of it. Because you know there's free radicals your body generates.
Yeah.
Generally hydrogen peroxide. So we have tons of mechanisms, peroxidase pathways, right? Cytochrome, I think, is the gene, and bacteria have it to get rid of it. So living things can get rid of peroxides pretty well, but the bigger an organism you are, the more peroxide you can tolerate.
Yeah, right.
So we actually use it to sterilize things when we want to kill off some things but not other things, and we just basically gauge how big is the organism. So I dip all my aquarium plants in peroxide because they'll survive, but all the bacteria won't. I just increase the concentration of peroxide.
Amazing. Our bodies are.
How good. We've got
Nathan, what is this? Convinced of the conspiracy.
Now Nathan also said this week he compared people speculating on NFTs to millennials that are as bad as boomers. Because they're investing in stuff that inherently doesn't really have much value, like property, right?
Like property, yeah.
Well, it doesn't. Like,
yeah. Well, I don't know.
Do you reckon? Would you say speculators in NFT are the millennial boomers?
I think that every generation is going to get excited about the latest assets and the latest trending, and for the boomers, that was property was always the biggest asset, the most exciting asset you could have. And so for us, it
was the Australian dream, right?
Yeah.
And the government wanted us to have houses because Menzies was like, well, if everyone owns a house, they own a stake in the country. That means they won't want to revolt against the government and overthrow us.
Right. And
so if we get them a 25-year job, a 25-year mortgage, and at the end they own their own house, they're going to want to be a part of Australia. Okay. Overthrow government. Like,
I was thinking that Menzies' reasoning was a bit like, but then that's the reason.
But we're too lazy and apathetic.
So the Liberals want us to overthrow the government.
But they know that we're just like, I can't be fucked. That's a lot of effort.
So much effort.
I'll just pay rent.
Right.
So, but it's funny because like when I look at the Liberals, I'm like, fuck, I would have voted for that shit. My own house and a job. And it's weird how like different things are now because Menzies is like the Menzies is left of Labor at this point, right?
Wow, really?
Labor doesn't want you to have your own house. The fucking there's a party, affordable housing party. Yeah. We should all have houses, and everyone's like, whoa, fuck that radicalism, damn commie. Like,
you commie.
Yeah. Anyway, so let's jump onto the NFT. How much did it sell for?
All right. So everyone, so interesting. Actually, a couple of days ago.
So what are NFTs? We talked about them briefly last week.
You taught me. So Meow's teaching me well. Non-fungible tokens makes me think of fungi.
Yeah.
That's how I remember it. And they are tokens that are used via blockchain to acquire digital assets.
Yeah. So they're like a barcode and what tokenization is wrapping something in a token, right? And so wrapping something in a coin, a Bitcoin, right? But each of these Bitcoins is different. So non-fungibility says that they're different. And we talked about it in the context of if we had two $50 bills, but one had been handled by Elon Musk and one had just come out of a cash register, one might be like worth more. Yeah. Each of these tokens, even though they're the same on the blockchain, is actually worth a different amount. Now, how much did this NFT sell for? So
this particular token, which contained within it the .jg of an work by this artist called Beeple. And so the question was, so how much did it sell for? It started for $100. That's where the bidding started. And it is now made art history by being sold as the first digital artwork at, not as the first one ever, but the most expensive digital artwork at $69 million.
Holy shit.
Wild. Because
what
I
do you
looked
think
at the
about
artwork.
that?
Yeah. Did you looked at the artwork? I looked at the artwork.
Yeah.
If you guys want to Google it, you can.
Do we want to have a look? Let's have a look.
Yeah.
Let's just describe it.
It's okay. So this guy, it's called Every Day is the first 5,000 days. So it's 5,000 days of just like pictures from this guy's life and selfies for the past 5,000 days. It's just been like put together as a collage, and it's not that good.
It's not. It's kind of like, do you remember back in the day, on the early days of the internet, there was this like, somebody set up this thing which was like a big picture on a web page. You could buy pixels, and it's like buy 100 by 100 square pixel, right?
Right.
Oh, I just wanted to quickly say, and this is like this thing. It's like creating artificial scarcity. Property does have value. I agree with that. Actually, it does have an inherent value. It does have value. Bitcoin has zero value. All cryptos have zero value. Property does have some inherent value. It's just inflated value. I think there's a lot of artificial scarcity in the property market. I just wanted to correct that. So, sorry, I was wrong, and it was pissing me off because I'm like, actually, I did make a mistake. So, this picture's a piece of shit.
All right, so it's a crap picture.
Right.
I mean, how
Does
much?
anyone think it's not a piece of shit, or did they just speculate? Because the person who paid $69 million, they didn't look at that and go, that picture, that's a masterpiece.
It's like a square, and it's pretty colourful. It's got lots of pinks, blues, and greens. Look, I just think that even the idea is quite basic. It's not that interesting or innovative of an artwork, even as an idea. But I just feel that NFTs, non-fungible tokens, are just so, again, our generation is speculating on them and is excited about them. It's just the hype around them that's driven up this price, in my opinion. Let's see what Nathan Waters is saying.
No, one of my artist friends actually said, don't poo-poo it because it's my chance to get rich as a millennial artist, which I think is an interesting thing.
Yeah.
And he's like, if you kill the hype,
ride that hype train.
Ride that hype train. Give me 5%. That's it. I love NFTs.
I reckon NFTs, says Nathan, are the luxury art tax scam for whales. To exit to fiat. Oh wait, is whales and fiat?
So whales are basically people who come into the crypto market and manipulate it because they've got so much money. And Elon Musk is one of these. So he buys a whole of a Bitcoin and then he announces Bitcoin's the best. And because he just bought a whole heap, it goes up. Yeah. And then everyone else invests and it goes up even more. So he has the ability to just with money control the value of the coin. Now, you can't really do that when you have like trillions of dollars as a country, right? Like no one's got enough cash. Even like the richest people in the country can't really manipulate the cost of the dollar. But when you've got smaller things like Bitcoin or Ethereum or these tokens, people with $100 million can actually completely control the market. We call them whales, right? Now they eventually need to take
whales because they're big and
they make
powerful.
a big splash.
A big splash, right? That's great.
So they come in and they splash their money around, and then it causes waves, right?
Yeah.
Now, eventually they want to take their money out of Bitcoin to buy like real world things with fiat currency. A fiat is like dollars, right?
Yeah.
So what they do is they're like, okay, well, how am I going to get this out? So what they do is, Nathan says, they buy art at an auction, dependently valued at 10 times some years later, donate it to a museum, claim that amount as a tax deduction, and then they don't pay tax on the capital gains tax, right?
This is a whole strategy.
Well, this is how people do it in real life, right?
Right.
So they buy artists' work that's literally, do you know Patricia Piccinini? She made the fucking sky whale.
Okay, yeah.
It's a tit whale, I think it's called. And it's a hot air balloon in Canberra. And it's got this face and she's got mammary glands, like tits. But I went to an exhibit of hers and she just dripped wax onto a canvas. And I'm like, that's not really that good. But then she had these like grotesque human animals hybrid sculptures. I'm like, how much are they? Not for sale. Because what she's selling assets that will increase in value over time because you're buying a share of her. And the artworks aren't meant to be anything other than a vector to hold her signature and increase in value as her personal profile grows because it's an original of hers, which is essentially a non-fungible token, right?
Yeah.
It's an artificially scarce thing that she's minted or created. And people just buy these. In fact, like your superannuation probably buys these, puts them in a fucking shipping container somewhere. They increase over time, and they buy and sell the right asset, which just sits there. Piece of shit. The actual artwork itself isn't. And I'm like, there's people that are like, I really admire the way that she dripped the wax on this one, slightly different to the 100 almost identical ones. It really shows her like persistence. I'm like, that's a piece of shit.
Yeah,
right?
But it's just people's reputation, isn't it?
It is, and that's what you're buying, and that's the scam, right? Because it goes up over time. She gets rich, but she can be bribed by them and play the game, right? To do certain things to make them increase in value in a certain way.
I didn't know art was so evil.
Or speaking of art, there's actually an exhibition that everyone should go and check out at White Rabbit's, a Chinese gallery in Surrey Hills, if you're in Sydney, and they've got a new exhibition called Lumen. That is very Instagram friendly.
I've got to catch that. That's a great gallery. And that one's the lady that owns that, I believe her name is also Lucy, like mine. And she's just a philanthropist, which is really cool. A
lot of artists are. Like, have you been to Mona?
Yeah.
Mona's owned by like one dude. He's just like, fuck it, I'm rich, I'm gonna make an art gallery.
That's right. Didn't he win all his money? Is that
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. He's a professional gambler.
Yeah, he's a profestal gambler.
Imagine
he
that.
won his money online, this guy. So it's in Australia, there's this art gallery in Melbourne.
No, Tasmania.
Sorry, Tasmania. Sorry. And it was basically funded by this guy who won all his money via online poker games or something like that.
He had a system, right? He came up with a system.
Ooh.
I think it was horses, and he actually employed all these people. And he employed some mathematical system to look at certain traits and work out who was going to win. And his maths was better than the bookies. So he always won.
So, oh my God, maths is everything, doesn't it?
That's it.
And just jumping in, you guys talking about, we just jump around between topics, 100 different topics, and we both talk at the speed of light. So I'm sorry about that.
My dog has been commenting, which is good.
Oh, that's awesome.
I had to bring my dog on live stream one time because they're very cute.
Italian greyhounds.
Tiny.
They are gorgeous. I didn't know that they could be so small and so cute. It's like a mini greyhound.
And we have a hi from Canberra. Liz.
From my mum. Thank you, fan in Canberra.
Now, just the first humans. Yes, she did, Eden. Patricia Piccaninny is actually a really cool artist, and one of the things I love most is this trans themes, which is very cool. Reminds me of data art style. Yeah, it's very like poking the thumb at conventional art. So a lot of more conservative people get very upset when tax dollars go to funding her artworks, and it's a giant balloon made of tits floating around Canberra. But it actually is really good for tourism because she's a really good fucking artist. And part of being a good artist is pissing people off. Now, one thing that we haven't talked about, have you seen Blue Poles? This is a very controversial artwork brought by the Australian government. Pollock, yeah. Jackson Pollock.
Jackson, Ivan.
No, you're right. So,
Mr. Pollock.
Mr. Pollock.
He's an Australian. Sorry, and Lenny P, this is for me. Can't understand this level of smart piece. Okay,
so what happened with Pollock? How did he make his artwork? Do you remember what it looks like? Too damn.
I'm just sorry. That's the best thing ever. Too fake. I know. I don't know how we change our talking style to be more understandable.
I think we just got maybe we're gonna have a fundraiser and we'll have booze next time.
Yeah. I think we need to talk slower or something. Let us know what we need to do to be more understandable.
Please do.
All right. So Jackson Pollock.
Blue Poles, yeah.
So he was an Australian artist. And
I don't know if he was Australian, but
maybe he wasn't.
I thought this too, but I don't know if he was Australian. We bought his artwork though.
Yes,
the Australian government
bought his artwork.
Yeah.
And really, it's if you look at it, it's quite large.
Huge, right? You've seen it, right?
Yeah. And it's sort of like someone has just thrown paint, like.
I've seen a lot of NFTs that look like this.
A lot of non-fungible tokens. So anyway, but this was a real life artwork that's in a gallery, and
it's in the National Gallery in Canberra.
Really expensive. So there was all this like
$69 million.
$69 million.
No, it wasn't. I think bought for $6 million.
6%.
Yeah.
And but Australian people were like, wow, like you paid so much for this piece of artwork that
contemporary artwork.
Probably someone could have done just throwing.
My daughter could have done it, and she's in preschool. Right, that's what everyone said.
I love these debates around the art community and what's easy and what means something and what requires years of skill and research and what has value. art is constantly changing in that. Well, it's actually in a way it isn't changing because it's always the same arguments and.
That's exactly right. But what's interesting is if it gets people talking, it increases the value of the art, right?
Yes.
So what happened with this painting was it ended up becoming worth a fucking fortune because it got the whole country talking about art. By it becoming a controversial artwork, it increased its value.
And to the point that now we've both seen it. And
have
made a judgment about it, and years later are still obsessed with it.
I love the fact that it pissed people off.
Really? Why?
And because if conservatives hate it, I think that makes me like it. Because if a few bits of paint on canvas can get them angry, I want more. I want more of that. Like, now the thing is, I hope that the Australian government buys the first 5,000. What's it called?
So this is the artwork that sold for 69.3 million.
Yeah.
And the artwork is called Every Day's First 5,000 Days.
So after this live stream, I'm going to start a petition that the Liberal government buys this NFT.
Why?
Because it will piss people off. And I want them to display it next to Blue Poles.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Blue Poles being the name of the artwork by Jackson Pollock. But hasn't this NFT artwork already been? It's been sold, so the government can't buy it.
They can buy it if they allow resale. So I want them to buy it for $69.420.
Okay.
Blaze it.
Are you going through this with this petition, or is this just like, he's writing it down? This is
69.420. There we go. We've got first signature as Eden. Petition to get the government to buy an NFT.
Wow.
There you go.
Let's jump into the comments again.
Okay.
Where are we?
Is now a data whale, Sky Daddy or something? Yeah, I think it was called Sky Whale or something like that.
Yeah.
I think so. I'll sign that challenge. Do the wedgie challenge. I'm not sure what the wedgie challenge is.
Galactic 475. Could you just let us know what the wedgie challenge is? That sounds funny.
There we go. So this is how much we're selling it for.
Eden
Thank you, Eden.
69. 420.
Yeah.
What's the significance of 133.7?
That's late. That means you're very cool on the internet.
Oh, really?
You're a hacker.
Oh, why does that number have that significance?
It's LEET. It's like using numbers in the place of letters because that's what 14-year-olds do. And it started ironic.
Good evening, Twiggy. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, it started off ironic, and now people actually use it all the time.
LEET. But what does EAT mean?
Elite. It's a shortened version of 313373, and then it became 1337, and it is used as a put down in online games.
Oh, okay.
But then people actually are like, oh, it's actually kind of cool. So
that's cool. Cool number.
We're good, Twiki. And we're about to open the next topic, which we give each other a wedgie, and whoever can last the longest wedgie wins.
Y'all give each other.
I'll be worried because that's common assault, and if you get common assault, you get a criminal record, and that would limit your ability to use Tinder in the future. How's that segue?
Okay, this is great because we have a list of topics, and Meow's like sometimes transition to different topics, and then I've changed the conversation. But that was yet another great transition.
So what is? I didn't read this article, so I'm interested.
So basically, Tinder this week, and by the way, everyone, we sort of randomly talk about different things that are happening globally in the news and in Australia. So Tinder is now going to offer it's looking into offering criminal record checks on the platform, so that, and it's an effort to basically make people safer. What do you guys think about this? Should people, if they have a criminal record, should it be shown? The thing is, there is a lot of crime and violence that does happen via Tinder, and this would be one method of them trying to, to fix that, to correct that. What are your thoughts about having
how much does it show? Like, is it just sexual crimes or violence? Like, does it show you drug crimes? Like, oh no, that person got done for possession. Better invite them out on a date. And is it going to be like fraud or like what types of things go on there? Because like I've gotten a fine before for being a public nuisance.
Yeah, being a public nuisance. Of course you have.
I ran naked through Hyde Park and then got tackled by some police officers.
Did you really? How old were you? You're like, this was last week.
Old enough to know better. But it was mid 20s. I mean.
And why did you do it? just for fun.
Police were finding somebody else for having their clothes off.
Oh.
And I thought that was unfair. So I ran, as I was writing the fine for the naked person, I took off my clothes and ran between the cop and them, and they let that person go and chased me.
Really?
And I hoped that would start a chain reaction of people taking off their clothes until the cops couldn't arrest everyone. It didn't.
Meow hoped it would create a chain reaction.
So what ended up happening was I got fined, and a group of 14-year-old kids came over and were like, "We saw what you did. That was really fucking cool." And they gave me like fucking less than $20 in small change.
Worth it,
put
then.
this towards the fine.
Towards the fine.
Yeah.
Dude, I love that moment though with the 14-year-olds being like, "We want to help this justice. Here's money for your fine."
You know how they could have helped?
How?
By
taking off their clothes.
And run because they can't get fined. They're under 16.
Oh.
Maybe they can. I don't know.
Encouraging child nudity. I don't know about that.
Or maybe they could have just distracted the police. But I as I was running away, I ran through a fountain and slipped over on the algae.
Oh no!
And then twisted my ankle.
Was this the big
Hyde
Park, by the way? Is this a big park in Australia, in Sydney City? The big main fountain?
Big main fountain. It was after Trot Fest, and everyone was dancing and taking off the clothes in the fountain and having a great time. Oh. And the police came and shut down the music and the dancing. And I was like, no, fuck this.
Right.
He didn't
stand for that.
I did not.
And so, do you feel that it was an effective protest?
Well, I want to know if it would. No. I think $350 to run naked through Hyde Park is a small price to pay, though.
$350, yeah.
I wonder if I went on Tinder, would someone see, oh, he's a public nuisance, and not see the nuance of that story? Right?
Totally. Because
like, would they see, oh, he got caught running naked through Hyde Park away from police officers to save someone from, or would it just be like public nuisance Hyde Park? There he is.
Yeah.
Also, public enemy #1 of Transport New South Wales. For my Opal card.
Oh, of course.
What are they going to see when they see this?
So for those who don't know Meow's history, he how do I describe it?
Oh, I got an Opal card. I'm sure everyone knows. Google my name and you can go find it if you don't know.
You can Google Meow and just maybe type in Opal card and go to the news tab. You are in with the New South Wales transport industry. You are in
criminal proceedings.
Oh.
Yeah, criminal record
right.
for breaking the law.
Right, because you were the first person to put this Opal card in your hand.
And
what an Opal card is, for people who aren't even in Sydney, they won't know. So, because people in other states in Australia don't have it, it is basically a little card with a microchip inside that you tap to go on public transport, so buses or trains, ferries in Sydney, and it has it's linked to your bank account, so that's how you pay, and it was considered really easy, and just when it came through, and it's funny because there was this big push to get rid of paper tickets, which is what we had beforehand, and then to reintroduce all the Opal cards, and then as soon as they were introduced, then they were suddenly pushed out in favor of using credit card microchips.
Because they're actually credit cards, right?
Right.
They're actually a credit card. They have a PIN number or like everything, right? It uses the same technology. And the thing is, why didn't they use credit cards in the first place? Because they wanted ownership over it. It's kind of scummy because they can take all the money and hold onto it and reinvest that money, which is actually... So the strange thing is there may be parts of the Opal system that are unconstitutional.
Right.
Yeah.
Shall we continue on this topic? Probably not.
Tinder. I want to know.
Probably not.
Just another parameter, the Tinder AI I can play with in their breed. Yes. So Tinder, Nathan and I have talked about this before. Tinder is quite likely an AI breeding program.
Oh.
Where they try and match people because they can choose who gets matched, right?
Right.
Who sees who.
Yeah. And
then they can try and breed new humans that are more likely to use Tinder. Or maybe they want to experiment. Maybe they're trying to breed lucky humans. Or maybe they're trying to breed more white people. You don't know, right?
That's a conspiracy.
I'm down. I'm bullish. I believe in the Tinder breeding conspiracy.
The Tinder breeding it's very interesting.
It's going to breed the ultimate criminals, right? And then it's going to try and find Australia, and it will send all the panels on the second fleet to the new country.
What's the new country called?
Australia 2.
Australia
Tinder
2.0.
Yeah, that's it.
Tinder Boogaloo. That's awesome.
And so I saw this guy, and when he was applying for to immigrate to Australia, on the form you fill out, it asks, do you have a criminal record?
Yeah.
And he said to the person interviewing him, he's like, no, I didn't realize that was still a requirement.
Oh, that being because, within Australian history, all the British brought all their criminals over to Australia.
That's it. We've all been
and dumped them
selectively
here.
bred for petty theft. So, and this is funny because 200 years later, Woolworths put self-service checkouts, and they got all the descendants of people who stole bread and said, we're going to trust them with a self-service checkout.
It's amazing. Oh my God. All right. I love where your brain is going with this. It's amazing. I feel like we're going too fast, everybody. So
would you like Tinder to have its criminal record checking?
So yeah. So I think that there are smaller crimes that don't really matter that much. But people can make individual judgments around that. But overall, I think that it can be dangerous for women. It can be dangerous for men, of course, as well. But I think that any sort of people that get wrapped up in that. Who are better people, it's still better overall to know if someone's committed a more serious crime before you sort of go out on a date with them.
Also, there's this kind of like, if you do the time, you're kind of redeemed, right? So say, for example, you do something bad, you're meant to be able to go to prison and redeem yourself in the eyes of society by doing your time, right? This is a key element of the legal system, is that you have to have like this opportunity for redemption to be able to change yourself. So after a certain amount of time, your criminal record goes away, and these types of things. Yeah. Which I think is an important thing, because cancel culture doesn't have the redemption element, right? So once you get cancelled, a lot of people are just like, my life.
Who here loves cancel culture?
What's that?
Who here loves cancel culture?
It's interesting because people end up becoming accountable. People who are traditionally not accountable for their crimes or their transgressions, according to the general public, actually become accountable for them. But it's trial by fire. Like, there's, even if it turns out they're not guilty, they might just be tarred and can never ever do anything again. Like, or maybe remember that chick in Korea whose dog pooed on the train, and someone filmed it and it went viral, and she couldn't even go to the shops.
Right.
And it's like, well, it wasn't right to let her dog poo on the train, but also she doesn't deserve to die of starvation.
For sure,
but also, no one wants to be associated with her. So it's like...
it's public shaming, isn't it?
It's pretty full on. You need to throw digital tomatoes. So I think instead of a criminal record thing, what about if there's just like a scorecard? And you could be like, that person's pretty friendly. They're a little bit creepy. And you can just have a sliding scale, like, did they buy you dinner? Were they friendly? Did they drink too much? And you can just, at the end of the date, just go through Tinder and just
this is yet another Uber rating of your
everything.
Date. We just need to rate everything and everyone.
Uber for dates.
Uber for dates.
It's combined
Uber for
Tinder.
police.
Yeah, Uber for police.
People.
That's it.
Twiggy80. So when I visit Sydney and go to the park and see the fountain, I'll be like, this must be the fountain that guy from Twitch ran naked through. Absolutely. Yes.
Live stream and tag
That's
me.
The one. Actually, Twiggy80, quite a few like American celebrities and people go and jump in that fountain. I remember for 21 Jump Street when Channing Tatum and Jonah Hill came to Australia, they also jumped in that fountain and almost got arrested.
So gross.
It's just this big main park. It's sort of like the Central Park, but it's much smaller for Australia.
Yeah, but it's gross. Yeah. I think one of the police officers actually said, he's like, listen, last week there was this person masturbating in this fountain. I just want you to know that.
Okay, yeah, we don't want to be in that fountain. There's a Florida man style record. That's a Florida man style record. Yes. Yeah, it is. It really is.
The Queensland of America is Florida. Right? Northern Territory or Queensland. I can't work out which one is the Florida of Australia. Far North Queensland, maybe?
I'm not going to make that call.
When I went to Florida, I'm like, this is Queensland. But I also haven't been to the Northern Territory, so I couldn't work out.
You've been to Florida.
Okay, is there anything really, really interesting that we need to make sure that we cover?
Well, I like that comment Eugene said. We need to be able to rate ratings. I love that.
Yeah, I think this is good. It's like watching The Watchmen, right?
Watch The Watchmen, rate the ratings.
That's it.
Yes, all right.
Also something very interesting for those people viewing in Australia. I wasn't aware of this. You said that there is a travel bubble opening up. So basically, overseas travel, recreation and stuff like this has been off the cards for a really long time.
Yeah.
Which countries is this between?
So Australia is in talks with Singapore, and it's been open with New Zealand already a little bit, but the government's in talks with Singapore to open up Australian travel, so flights could go between Singapore and Australia and New Zealand. But I believe there's going to have to be proof of vaccination before that happens, before you can fly. What that also means is that people who want to travel to Singapore from other countries as well will then be able to go to New Zealand and Australia. So it
once
does
you're in the bubble, you can.
Yeah, but once you're in the bubble, you should be able to safely move around. So that's sort of big Australia because Australia, it's this big island. We generally like to travel. We generally like to go overseas. So I think that's going to happen.
But during pandemics, we like to close our borders to keep all the COVID out, right?
Yeah, yes, we do.
And we're still in a pandemic.
Yeah, we're still there. That's
now, right. What's interesting is this actually starts to say that if you want to increase tourism, we should prioritize vaccinations for travelers.
Right.
Which goes in direct contravention of the World Health Organization's suggestions around vaccination rollout.
And their suggestions are what? Old people at risk. No.
Actually, interestingly, developing nations first. So I part of my vaccination skepticism, I was like, I want to read everything.
Yeah.
On the weekend, I read like 20, 30, 40 articles, like so many articles. I read the World Health Organization's reports on AstraZeneca, which says, yeah, fuck it, like it's good enough. As long as we get high enough vaccination rates, it's going to solve all the problem. And it turns out in practice, the initial trials got less efficacy than the actual rollout, of the AZ vaccine is as high as the Pfizer one, which is interesting.
Yeah. But just to repeat, Pfizer and AstraZeneca, they're great.
Right. Yeah. Get any.
The stats are great.
Any vaccination is fine. If you can mix and match them, that's fine. All of them. You're probably going to end up getting 2 doses though. Now, what's interesting is they said they don't want to prioritize international travelers. They want to get all of the developing nations vaccinated first, and then any country that's like in the depths of it. So like Italy, UK, America. America at this point is a developing nation, right? Unfortunately, hilariously, get all those people done first because they can't. We need to put out the big fires, right?
Yeah.
And then all the spot fires can be done by countries that have actually got their shit together, like Australia, Singapore, New Zealand, where we just go, okay, we'll just lock down that suburb. America's like, half of them don't even believe that the virus exists, so vaccinate them, right? Vaccinate places that don't have infrastructure to be able to stop the wildfires from outbreaking, so Papua New Guinea, some African countries, places like this. But what's actually going to happen is Australia will want to get tourism kicked off and rebuild their economy, and they see the best way of doing that is to vaccinate out people who've been vaccinated in. So what we're going to see is the opposite to the advice come through.
Right. And look, I do see why the World Health Organization made that choice. They're less about economy and more about, fixing some of the world at all, as a whole. So I do understand.
I'm going to get vaccinated to travel.
Yeah.
So I'm a giant fucking hypocrite, right?
So, wait, so are you saying that you're going to do it for that purpose?
Yeah. Well, no, I'm going to get vaccinated because I love vaccines.
Yeah.
But I also want to go to Singapore. So okay, we're back.
Hey.
So he's a bootleg doctor.
Meow's friend in Singapore.
Yeah.
Dr. So-and-so. He's a bootleg doctor. What is that?
So what he did was he was really upset because access to medication. So America does a lot of things really well, right? But one of the things it's very controversial is like gun laws and socialized healthcare.
Yeah.
These are two things which always come up as like big divisive issues, and a lot of people are upset about the way that that healthcare is done over there. And one of the things is access to
EpiPens, which are used for people with what's it called? The diabetes?
Anaphylaxis.
Anaphylaxis.
So this is when they have an immune reaction that causes them to
That's right, allergies. It's
allergies.
reactions where they're sort of they're breathing and they
throat swells up, and then they get
not diabetes.
This. You know what it is? It's a syringe with a giant spring behind it, filled with adrenaline, and you like jam it into their arm.
And you should hold it like that, because a lot of people hold it like that and actually hold it the wrong way around and end up giving it to themselves. So if you ever have to give someone an EpiPen, hold it like this, not like that. You might just give it. Oh
no,
so,
yeah, there you go. There we go. Boom, whack it in.
Not like that. You might give yourself an adrenaline.
So I saw this meme today, and it said my friend gave me something before he died. He seemed very eager to give it to me to make sure that he really wanted me to have it, and it was an EpiPen. There's a picture. So this guy created the EpiPencil.
Ooh.
And it was a DIY giant spring with a 3D printed case and a syringe filled with adrenaline, and he sold for he was giving away for free, because the thing is, in America, and there's a bit of to the pharmaceutical companies, because in America, even if you want them, they're actually out of stock. Yeah. So he's like, fuck it, what about if I just make really dodgy ones, and that's better than nothing?
That is better than nothing.
So, and he's taken this now. He was famously taking Martin Shkreli's medication. The guy, Martin Shkreli. The guy who bought the AIDS medication or whatever,
and put it at a really high price.
Now he's in jail. The four vinegar thieves collective, something like this. I forget what it is. It's about a medication that was used for the Black Plague.
Okay.
He named his thing after that because there was these thieves that made this bootleg medicine, and it protected them against the Black Plague, so they could go and rob people's houses while they were dying or in quarantine.
Wow. And they were called the vinegar something. Four vinegar.
Onion. I'll find out right now. Four thieves
vinegar and onion chips.
That's right. So it was four thieves vinegar, because it was four thieves that made this vinegar that made you immune to the Black Plague, and they think it actually had all these things in there that scared away the flu.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But anyway, it was kind of this thing about these guys making this thing that was distributed everywhere for free and helped people get past the Black Plague. Anyway.
Okay.
Thing is, he's basically made a new version of this where he's trying to be the Robin Hood of medications.
How cool!
So I want to go visit him because he's doing some really cool stuff. He's got so many cool, fun projects. He's all about trying to make medications cheaper and doing things like making the abortion medication, where you can eat the pill and have an abortion, chemical abortion, available to countries where women don't have rights. So open sourcing how to produce it at home. So if you wanted to do this, you can then have control over your own body and bodily sovereignty. And this is one of the things that caused us, because my court case involved bodily sovereignty, caused us to talk. It's
bodily sovereignty.
The right to be able to have ownership over your own body.
Yeah, the right to have ownership over your own body. It's important. Hello, Beckler Star.
That's my sister. Where is she?
Hey, yeah, she's down the bottom. Tom Jury, I somewhat like the idea of a news owl. Sorry, ends New Zealand. Sometimes the words of a news owl, Oz travel bubble, and LMAO about USA as a developing nation. It's pretty funny, isn't it?
And we're treating it like a developing nation at the moment because of the way that it handled it. I think that Biden getting in there is hopefully going to swing things in a direction that will hopefully fix a couple of things. I think the only thing they really need to fix at the moment is gun control and socialized health, and that will stabilize them. But if they don't get COVID under control, they're in a lot of trouble. Hopefully, the vaccine will get rolled out quickly, though.
Yeah, I think for something crazy like 1 million people getting vaccinated daily, something crazy.
Yeah.
So look, that's exciting. We hope that we can, in Australia, can travel again.
Also, comment lots, because we stay on here until we get 100 comments.
That's right.
We won't go. We'll fucking do it. We'll stay here all fucking night.
They can just sign
we got topics. We got many topics.
We got topics.
What's your favorite?
We're ready to debate.
Now, for the people who are in now, I had a nice moment this week, which was the state election in Western Australia. Something interesting happened.
Something really funny happened. In Australia, in politics. Would you like to tell?
The right-wing party got absolutely fucking obliterated. So generally with elections, you get a kind of 49-51 split. If it was really like crazy, maybe you get like, 48-52.
Right. 48-52. And conservative state.
Yeah, mining state. That's all. They're basically a developing nation. They export tourism and minerals. They're basically Papua New Guinea, right?
And everyone.
Yeah, fuck Western Australia. I fucking hate them. And they always try and leave. So the second the coronavirus came, they're like, close the borders, keep the rest of the country out. We hate them, right? And this was applauded. They were like, finally, we have an excuse to keep the rest of the country out. Now, Clive Palmer tried to take Mark McGowan, the Premier, the head of Western Australia, to court, saying that the lockdown, the quarantine of their state was unconstitutional.
Unconstitutional, right.
And he lost, and then Mark McGowan declared Clive Palmer an enemy of the state.
Oh, I forgot about this.
Formally.
This is in politics, y'all.
Formally. So Clive Palmer is like basically a terrorist as far as Western Australia is considered.
Wow, that's crazy.
Right? Political dissident, like really full on. Now, everyone loved him. People getting tattoos of the Premier.
Yeah.
There was raps about him, remixes. Everyone loved him.
Yep.
And we went to the election.
Yep. And resounding win.
I think it was something around...
He lost like 2 to 4 seats.
Yeah, so they ended up having... I think they kept 4 seats. Or you could fit the opposition in a combi. Right?
In a combi.
And then 59 seats went to Labor.
And so...
Which is the left-wing party.
So, because people just really appreciated how Mark McGowan handled COVID in Western Australia.
Yeah.
And in Australia, there's Labor and Liberal, and Labor, in America, Liberal is left, but in Australia, Labor is typically meant to be the left, and Liberal's meant to be conservative or right. So
they're both quite right parties. So.
And so Mark McGowan, who was from the left party, won this giant landslide win. And you know what? New South Wales have their election coming up, so that's the state that we're in currently now. And what do you think is going to happen?
I predict resounding victory for Meow-Ludo, Meow-Meow.
No,
I'm not right. I think people. So just a roundup. Melbourne, everyone loved. What's his name? Dan Andrews, which is a Labor guy as well. In New Zealand, we've had mixed reactions because there's been a few little outbreaks, but it's off the back of some unpopular strategies, which was Gladys Berejiklian has locked down the country, right? So she locked it down before COVID though, because she hates partying. So she saw this as another excuse. But the thing is, they were criticizing her for not locking it down hard enough. That she locked it down, except the one time it mattered. So she tried to keep the things she likes open,
right? But
didn't shut down the things that actually mattered. So she was like letting the Northern Beaches kind of have their own little bubble, and it kind of worked. But the thing was, we just had one case of local transmission. That was at the back of 50 or 60 days of no transmission. Diagnostics. So I work in COVID diagnostics for I'm going to comment. We're going to talk about Ray's comment in just a moment too.
Hold on. When you lean forward, it like takes it out of. We've got to come back together.
Can we?
Yeah. And then we got to bring the focus back.
Hope it will work.
It didn't work.
We're gonna okay, so basically,
All right. I'm gonna wait till my face is.
there you go. There you're in focus.
Okay,
Bring it
bring the
back.
focus
There we go. Hey.
Amazing.
So basically, the way that COVID diagnostics are done is that basically all diagnostics are done the same way. You take a sample, put it in something, goes off to the clinic. They extract the DNA or the RNA. They turn it into DNA if it's RNA, and then they interrogate the DNA to see if certain sequences are there that are unique to the organism. They do that using a thing called a PCR thermal cycler, and it's basically a photocopier for DNA.
Mm-hmm.
What happens if I take a blank piece of paper and I photocopy it 100 times?
We're gonna lose some resolution.
Yeah, and if it's blank, eventually bits of dust and things like that will start to creep in.
Yeah.
And eventually you'll have an image on the piece of paper, right? Or like static or something like that.
Yeah.
Now the same thing happens with the PCR thermal cycler.
Oh.
If you amplify it for long enough and repeat this, eventually you get a signal. It's got false positive, right?
Oh, okay.
So one of the things the World Health Organization said is if you lower the cycle threshold, we can get rid of some of the false positives. And this is just a method. Any photocopier, no matter how good it is going to have this.
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing happens with pathology. So one of the things they're saying is that the cases dropped when Biden got in because they changed the way they do diagnostics.
Right.
Like false positives are fine. Has more, that's a good thing because the net benefit is that the flow-ons will cause it. So if with high amounts of false positives, Trump couldn't get it under control, that shows a failure that they're basically doing him a favor by putting false positives in because it means that more people will stay home and not infect.
Yeah.
So basically, Biden's even better if that's the case, is my opinion. So that's it. Now, the one vote that mattered. Ray said the Liberals didn't stop the one vote that mattered. Do you remember which vote this is?
No.
The Ruby Princess.
Oh, of course.
So do you remember this boat? What happened?
Yeah, so it was this big cruise ship. And basically when COVID was sort of happening and everyone was sort of going, oh, it's in Australia, this big cruise ship, which of course had all these people. Oh no, I've taken us out of it. Here we go. Oh.
Big cruise ship turned up in Sydney, a plague ship.
Yeah, a plague ship.
Yeah.
This ship was allowed. Everyone was allowed to dock. Is that the word? To disembark from the ship, and this was.
Just not docking. We're gonna use the word docking.
Yeah, I don't know.
Docking's one of those weird sex things.
Oh, okay.
It's where you put your penis inside the foreskin of another man's penis.
Not that one.
No.
Yeah. It was a cruise ship. It was a cruise ship. And I'm gonna say it again. It disembarked. Everyone was allowed to disembark from this ship in Australia, even though, and so actually no one was checked, no one was alerted. All the, I think, and were we quarantining at the time? I think we were just starting to, something about that. But then
they were supposed to quarantine.
They were supposed to quarantine, but everyone was allowed to disembark and just run around.
Did you hear the rumors about why?
I just thought bad management is probably why.
Well, supposedly, one of the Liberals had a relative on there, and they let them all go because they didn't want this relative to get it if they weren't already infected. And there was an inquiry into it, and we still don't know who actually said release all the prisoners, the plague carriers. So and at one point, I think Ruby Princess was responsible before the Melbourne outbreak for 10% of all COVID infections in Australia.
So understandably, people were angry about the Ruby Princess passengers being allowed to disembark because it's like, well, we're putting all this effort into controlling COVID. And then suddenly the plague ship arrived.
And the guy, but they don't know who to blame. And the thing is, they keep on shifting the blame.
I don't blame the passengers either.
No, well, but there will be an inquiry, and we'll find out who gave it. There might even be a royal commission.
Maybe you heard it here first.
Bam! I heard it somewhere. That rumors, but there's like something fucking dodgy happened with Ruby Princess.
Right.
Like either someone seriously fucked up. Or someone deliberately caused that to happen. There's one of those two things. Now, random question. AI has beaten humans in all sorts of rules-based challenges. Chess, Go, even jet fighter combat. It beats us so comprehensively in all sorts of things. What areas do you think humans will always have the edge? I have now, and this is now we actually have some. We have AI artists coming in. Like for all we know, Beeple is an AI artist.
Yeah.
Right.
Beeple being the artist who just recently sold the JPG of God, how do I summarize this quickly? For $69 million image that was just sold by non-fungible tokens, which has just made art history. So he could be an AI, right?
Is there any area that AI can't beat us at?
Yeah, I can't remember, but I think it has to do with sort of emotional intelligence, right?
Do you think an AI could ever have emotional intelligence, though? Or is that the last thing that it's going to get?
I think it's going to be the last thing. I think there are so many behavioral cues. Or like maybe one day, but I think there's so much
you can get it to watch. Basically, if you give it annotated data, it can learn better than humans. Right. So one of the interesting things is an AI can know you better than your partner after asking you 50 questions.
Right, is that so?
It can work out what to buy you on Amazon better than your partner.
Really?
Really?
Cool.
So, with emotional intelligence, could it do the same?
No wonder people fall in love with AIs. Yeah, go on.
That's it. Yeah, well, but is emotional intelligence just this kind of like, if you ask enough questions, can you get the same kind of information? But there's the question. Okay, so there's a thing in here which is the strong and weak AI hypothesis, right?
So what do you guys think? Let us know.
Please, yeah, chuck the questions in. So with the strong and the weak AI hypothesis, it says, you said emotional intelligence, right?
Yeah.
What about if it can mimic emotional intelligence so well you can't tell the difference, right? Now, an example of this was actually given where it said, imagine there's a box, right? You walk up and you can write any phrase in English, even like weird terms of phrases or adages, right?
Okay.
And you feed it into the box and you wait a couple of minutes and then outside or a few seconds, and then it prints out the corresponding thing in Chinese. To the point that any person would agree that's exactly what that means.
We don't have that right now, though.
No, it's a thought experiment.
Yeah.
Now, inside
Google Translate and Baidu Translate, which is the Chinese version of Google Translate, they're so off. They're so far off.
Yeah, would you say that the device can speak Chinese? Now, I'm going to tell you something after this in a second, because you don't know.
What's going on in the box?
No matter what you put in, it spits out perfect Chinese.
Can it then speak Chinese? Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
So, Jeremy, this is just Lucy and I's live stream we do every week. So tune in again. So we're doing AI. So,
we just jump around science topics and news topics, and it all happens very quickly.
So Jeremy's actually working in COVID testing in America.
Amazing.
Now, so just quickly. So, could you say this machine speaks Chinese?
So I would say
feed it English, and it spits out a print of Chinese. Okay. There's a person inside the box.
Yeah. Okay. This is a thought experiment.
They can't speak Chinese.
They can't speak Chinese.
They speak English, and they have a book. And it's a gigantic book that has every single phrase that could ever speak English translated by a person into Chinese.
Mm-hmm.
But it's exhaustive. There's nothing you can ask him that's not in the book.
Mm-hmm.
Does he speak Chinese?
Yeah.
But he doesn't comprehend it, right? He
doesn't comprehend it. Okay. I think as long as it doesn't matter if you're using your brain to search for the term or a book. I think either way.
Because we can do this now, which says if we can get an AI to mimic that it can think, does it matter whether it can think or not?
Oh, that's the whole thinking part. That's very complicated.
We're saying does it matter? Sure. Because the thing is, if it mimics it well enough, does it matter, right? Because you can translate input to output. It doesn't matter whether that's Chinese to English or English to Chinese, or me taking in information with my eyes and ears, like emotional comprehension, and spitting it back out as like text or speech. Basically, we're just computers that take inputs and translate it to outputs.
Yeah.
If you have a computer that can mimic that, it doesn't actually matter whether there's thoughts going on, whether it recognizes its own existence. Because if I ask it, do you recognize your own existence? It can argue with me that it does, to the point that it makes no difference, right? If it actually thinks, that's strong AI. If it can just mimic it perfectly, it's considered weak AI. One of the big arguments is, does it make any fucking difference? If we can't tell the difference about whether it's conscious or not. Which is
the Turing test, right?
Turing test becomes, can we tell the difference between it and a human? And there's Turing test has more complicated elements, I believe, because whether it is. So Turing completeness is what I was thinking about. So that's a Turing test. Can it pass the test? And basically, this thought experiment was to come up with something that could pass the Turing test, but wasn't conscious. But then someone came along and said, well, does it make any difference? If it can fool you, maybe it is conscious. Like maybe that's the definition of consciousness, is that it can fool you whether it thinks or not.
Yeah.
Really interesting, right? This is fascinating. Chinese room, yeah. So it's basically this thought experiment. And there's another one as well, which is in a similar kind of vein, which was like the difference between thought and experience, right?
Yeah.
So like the Eve experiments, where they lock Eve in a room that's black and white, because she has access to all the information in the world via Wikipedia on a computer, but everything's in black and white. So she studied everything there is to know about colors and foods and shapes. Now, one day she leaves the room and she sees a red apple.
Yeah.
And she goes, that's a red apple.
Yeah.
What is different about her seeing the red apple than knowing the wavelength of a red apple and everything there is to know about a red apple? Does anything actually change inside her brain by seeing a red apple?
How does she know it's a red apple?
Because she's studied everything about it. She knows that this shape of apple can only be a red apple.
She doesn't identify that color because she hasn't seen the color
she
before,
sees it for the first time and she knows it's red.
But she's judging that not by the color,
but she experiences the color for the first time, right?
Mm-hmm.
We can pick something less ambiguous, like an orange.
Yeah.
But basically, does the experience of seeing it change something inside her brain that knowledge can't? Like, are knowledge and experience different things, and do they actually have some inherent value, or is just knowledge enough? Because computers
don't. Knowledge, right?
Computers just knowledge. Right?
Yeah.
They don't really have like experience, and maybe the way that we train our eyes is kind of some experience, but it's not experience like you and I have it, right? They're a fucking branch of. They're a new branch of the tree of life.
Yeah.
Everything else is on this one, and like 3D printers and AI are like their own trees of life, reasons that aren't connected biologically like us. Yeah, right? Printers can make other printers. NFTs can make new NFTs. We're like making all these new trees of life that don't have the same selective pressures that we do.
Wow.
Maybe we should make a fucking thought NFT and we'll put all of our fucking thought experiments on there.
Great.
They can breed. Yes, let's do it.
They'll breed.
Ask it what it should do with a tortoise. Yes, we should. We should. Emily's one of our people who checks in every week. Have you watched Blade Runner? The tortoise. Quickly bring this up. So in Blade Runner, they check to see an android's emotional reaction. One of the things you said was their emotional comprehension. Last thing.
Yeah, on the test.
So they ask the androids questions to see whether.
Yeah, I just gave me crazy eyes. Yeah, go on.
They ask the androids questions to see whether they have an emotional reaction. So when bots try and add me, I send them messages like this.
Oh.
Here we go. So if I want to check to see whether someone's a bot.
It's going to bring the focus back. Anyway.
There we go. I say, so someone added me and I'm like, are you a bot? I'm like, oh, okay. You're in a desert walking along in the sand when all of a sudden you look down and you see a tortoise, Gwen, who I think is a cop. It's crawling towards you. You reach down, you flip tortoise over on its back, Gwen. The tortoise lays on its back, belly baking in the hot sun, beating its legs, trying to turn itself over, but it can't. Not without your help, but you're not helping it. Why is that, Gwen? So I ask bots and I try and like lure them into.
Why do you help me?
Why do you help me try and provoke an emotional response? She didn't respond to me, so I figured she's an android, so I deleted her.
So you actually use this test from Blade Runner that's been used on AIs to bots that message you on Facebook and Instagram.
And it had a name. The Voight-Kampff test is what it was called. Voight-Kampff test. Now, just quickly, is thinking just, actually, let's get, hey, Devin. Devin is my good friend from Florida who has worked on the Bernie Sanders campaign.
Yes.
And he loves life extension and genetic modification and dreams of one day having a real life tail that will be grown and implanted. Very cool. Very cool. The ability to create and use explanatory knowledge gives people a power to transform nature, which is ultimately not limited by parochial factors, as all other adaptations are, but only by universal laws. This is the cosmic significance of explanatory knowledge, and hence of people whom I shall henceforward define as entities that can create explanatory knowledge.
My brain turned off. I have to do it again. I have to read it.
The ability to create and use explanatory knowledge gives people a power to transform nature, which is ultimately not limited by parochial factors. I swear I need to sit with this.
Again, what's the definition of parochial?
An overseeing, father like this, but it's actually about parochial. Let's break this down. Parochial is relating to a church parish. So someone's governing, having a limited or narrow outlook or scope. Okay, so when we're talking about parochial factors, it's limited, as all other adaptations are, but only by universal laws. So if we can create knowledge,
do you understand his name?
Yeah, we need.
Did you put this in? But do you understand it yourself?
I think I'm three drinks away from being able to explain that. I'm gonna take that on notice for next week.
Yeah. Oh, Devin, you also worked for Andrew Yang Gang.
That's who it was, Yang Gang. That's right. And there's some hilarious memes of Devin with Bernie Sanders on a train, which was photoshopped by some groups, which is hilarious. And Yang,
Nathan Bailey.
Yang, who was securing the bag. Everyone in America is about to get this giant fucking stimulus package. Have you seen this? How much is it? It's like $1,400.
Oh, okay, yeah, $1,200.
You've got a $1,400 stimulus package right now.
Money. What would you do? Let me think.
Well, I wouldn't travel to Singapore because that's not how the money's meant to be spent.
Yeah, I would put it. It sounds bad, like necessities, like bills and rent.
Bills.
Stuff like that.
I would buy 1,400. No, you know what I'd do? I'd buy a scratchy, a $2 scratchy.
A $2 scratchy.
And I would glue it to the ground outside my house, and I would put a webcam on it, live streaming it to the internet, so that every person who walks past and tries and picks it up would be on this live stream.
Yes. I
would tokenize that, call it an NFT, and I would use the $1,400 to mint my own tokens.
Yeah.
And then I'd turn it to some gambling app where you could bet on which people would try and pick it up and which people would just walk past.
It's such a good idea. My idea was so boring. Yeah. That is such a better idea.
Always got to involve gambling because that's all NFTs and cryptocurrency is.
Yeah.
Astrology.
We got to do something with NFTs for real. We talk about it so much. We have to do something for real.
We should tokenize star signs somehow and unify the great mysticism of astrology and cryptocurrency into one boy-girl friendly mysticism, because that's what it is, right? It's like
astrology,
and crypto. It's just mysticism. Like it's like I believe in the Church of Bitcoin, or Elon Musk sneezed, so I better go and stick my money in Dogecoin.
Right.
That's what it is, right?
Amazing. Jimmy Diamond Hands.
Give me diamond hands. Diamond hands. Do you love diamond hands?
Yeah, diamond hands. That's the I know it's on Reddit. Diamond hands and to the moon.
That's it. So diamond hands are holding stock no matter how much it is, no matter how much.
Hodling it. Yes.
What is
holding NFT? Why not do it now? What's the
GME? Yeah, so GME is going up and down. Yang Gang, my dad lives in New York. Yeah, I started the first Yang meme, which is amazing. All credit to Devin. Give me diamond hands. I would love diamond hands. If you could, I actually had this conversation a number of times. One of my friends has hooks for hands, right?
Yeah.
So I'm like, if I could replace my hands,
Tom's not here today.
if I could replace my hands, what would I put on?
Yeah.
He and I actually have this conversation quite a lot. Like, obviously, hands is the best, right?
Right.
But if you don't have
the best? What if you could have?
I think it's the best. So I've thought about it.
Okay.
There are upgrades to hands.
Yeah.
But hands are the best. There are benefits to having hooks. Like Tom.
Blade.
Yeah, Gundam blades, right? Or what about if you had coronavirus swabs?
The machine gun sword that I keep seeing in movies. Yeah.
Tom can do things like reach into boiling water and pull pasta out.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Super cool, right?
Right. Yeah.
So you can do some stuff that we can't do, but I think that biologics is what I like. I love biologics. I think tentacles would be cool, right?
Tentacles
would be very cool.
Where was it?
No, you need millions. I think Devon can comment on this.
Yes,
Tentacles.
Tentacles.
Yes.
Tentacle team.
Yeah.
I'm just like,
Team
no,
Tentacles.
the Gundam blade.
Every astrological sign has its own themed brand. The marketing possibilities are endless. So I actually saw a really cool use for astrology themes, right?
It's so trendy right now.
They're
Astrology is so trendy.
They're a brand, right? And Emily's right. They're like a set of attributes.
Yeah.
But if you're writing a story, they're really useful because they're characters. They're like tropes, right?
Totally.
So if you don't know what your character should be, you go, I'll just make them a Pisces. And you have this list of good and bad attributes that you can just give the character and they're believable.
Yeah. Because they relate to everybody.
And we know how Sagittarius and Leos interact. So you have this like framework for like how these archetypes all interact, which in its own is kind of a really interesting thing. So you can break down a lot of fictional characters by what their star signs are because they basically have these attributes that they always adhere to.
Or you could break them down into lawful good, lawful evil, neutral. What's that?
That's the alignment chart.
Alignment chart. So we've got astrology chart, alignment chart.
Maybe we need to assign them a cryptocurrency.
We need to give them a Myers-Briggs personality profile.
That's right. So we could say GME is this like stock that's like really popular and then not popular. So maybe that could be like, do we have someone that's like that? That's famous?
Really popular and then not popular.
Maybe Kanye? He kind of like oscillates in like popularity. So maybe his like character trait is that he's GME, and Bitcoin is this like
chaotic neutral.
Is he chaotic? Maybe chaotic evil. Neutral, I think.
He's neutral.
I think he's got potential to become chaotic evil. Yeah.
I'm a Leo and my sister is a Sagittarius. I mean, to be honest, I don't buy that. I know, and especially amongst girls, it's like astrology is such a thing right now.
Yeah.
And
I've heard it's like a lot of people get upset saying it's by not including astrology and science, you're making science not friendly to women. And I'm like, I know a lot of women scientists who don't agree with that, right?
Yeah, I'm not on the astrology.
I'm not on the astrology bandwagon. Except when it benefits me. So my partner and I are a good match. Everyone goes, oh, you guys are a really good match. So I'm like, love astrology.
Yeah. So the sign that I am is the 13th star sign, which is
no fucking way. You're the
Ophiuchus.
No way. It's only a really short amount of days.
Yeah, it's a short amount of days.
I'm so envious. That's the one I want. Right?
Oh, is that the one you expect?
My star sign changed.
It's a special one.
I went from Cancer to Gemini, and I like a giant crab. That's a pretty fucking cooked star sign. But I like Gemini because it's like this duplicity, twins. It's very cool. I always wanted to be a twin.
Oh, did you?
What to be identical twin?
Oh.
Clones, human clones, right?
That's why you're so into cloning.
So what is the fucking star sign for what is it?
I can't remember. So it's Ophiuchus. I can't remember the shape of it.
Can someone in the chat what it is?
Yeah, and
Koine? What the fuck is Koine?
Ooh, and how
is this Kanye as a coin? So I was thinking about like what fucked things can you tokenize, right? Yeah. So I was like, could I tokenize as a kid? Right?
No, I don't want to talk about all the fucked things we can tokenize.
Could I tokenize my name? And then every time it gets traded, I change my name, and that person can pick it, right?
That's so fun.
Because I saw today some person was trying to tokenize their body, their ass, and their titties.
Right.
It's just like you own it. But it's kind of like that, year one. You own my soul.
Yeah.
And the kids we don't exchange it, right? But like, could you legally enforce it? Could you actually tokenize your soul?
Probably not.
I don't believe in that stuff, but I also don't fuck with that stuff. Do you know what I mean?
I'm both afraid of it and deny it.
Snake Bearer is the okay, we've got Koine, was legit. Okay.
What happened to it?
Wiki, I can't.
Are you holding? Well, you're just holding. That's all that's happening.
Koine was an abandoned script-based cryptocurrency that embroiled in a trademark infringement over Kanye, using Kanye as a mascot, despite West having no affiliation with the project. Right. So it's like crypto fraud.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Which
that's a shame.
It was filing a trademark. But the interesting thing about the blockchain is where is it hosted? Where are these people? Can you find them? Yeah. Like, what about if you're in fucking Sealand, that little micronation in the middle of the Pacific Ocean? Who enforces it and who gets because once the blockchain's distributed, right?
What's
So
Sealand? What happened there? What?
it's an oil rig that got taken over, and all the dodgy shit that only needs, doesn't want to break all the laws, like Pirate Bay and stuff, gets hosted there.
Like international waters.
That's it. But what's interesting is that blockchains are kind of this international waters thing because they don't really, there's no server, one server that you can go and switch off. Anybody who's mining it is creating the network. So you have to shut down everyone.
Yeah.
To switch it off or take 51% control and then shut it down. And interestingly, some Chinese people have been testing the Binance chain by putting on Tiananmen Square tweets essentially into the blockchain so they can never be removed to check Chinese government's control over the blockchain of Binance, which Binance is the bank of the bank of Bitcoin in China.
Binance, that's wild. I've never heard of that one.
Huge.
There's a bratty chick in New York who's using astrology to play stocks and buy crypto.
Does it work? like honestly, like people use the fucking octopus to pick the fucking soccer games,
that's
and
right.
It works.
Yeah, the psychic octopus, and then he died, I think.
Yeah, they don't last very long. But I think it's one of those things that's like the Phantom. They just get another octopus, and they're like, "Oh, this is Benny the octopus."
The Phantom.
Because the Phantom, it's like if you wear the outfit, you're the Phantom.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Dread Pirate Roberts was the same.
The
right?
Dread Pirate Roberts. Amazing.
Have we got our 100 comments?
How many comments? We usually get a notification if we have had.
Tom Jerry's neutral good. Emily, I've learned how to read natal charts. I've been treating it like an international D&D game.
How so? Can you explain that further?
I would be more interested. Oh yeah, and in Japan, the blood type is your horoscope. So if you notice when you play Street Fighter 2, it has their blood type. And I'm like, why is that important? Do they need a transfusion? It's because they believe that your blood type, because a Japanese scientist in like the 80s wrote that all these people had certain traits. Then they started doing horoscopes based on your blood type.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it's pseudo-racist because most Asian people are A and most Western people are O. And they try and make like A people have all of these good traits and O people have all these bad traits. And it's actually like pseudo-racist.
Right.
But it still kind of exists because most people in... Anyway, we're not going to... Stonktopus. Maybe we should get some cuttlefish or octopuses, and then start octopodes.
Hey.
I don't know. I think they're all. I think whatever we say is right.
Yeah, we are an authority on many things.
And we use it to predict crypto stocks every week.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
How do you even? What would you get to do? Like you can eat the crab. Sell cancer astrology stocks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we just put all these animals to war against each other, and I love it because one of the animals has to be a centaur. We just have to find a centaur.
Create a centaur.
We create a centaur.
Yeah.
Cool.
What's Virgo? What is Virgo?
And I think some of them is just like a symbol.
Yeah.
They really are an animal, so.
Yeah, the scales.
It's just a Virgo person.
The scales.
Just put a human Virgo in there.
A virgin?
Human Virgo. Oh, I don't know.
Is it virgin? I don't know. I have no clue. If we ever fight a war with robots, how will we survive? Not by strength, not by superior reflexes. What type of intelligence?
Great questions.
Not easy. Basically, when we make guns from now on, all of them have a capture code on there, and you have to tick, I am not a robot. Problem solved. Easy.
Do we have robots that can full capture codes?
Yes. We're fucking dead.
So let's just admit defeat. Yeah.
If we ever go to war with the robots,
underground,
we are so fucked, right? Yeah.
I'm gonna be fine with my Gundam wing.
Yeah. What about if it's got AI in it? You're fucked. It's gonna turn. So I think the only way is we try and convince the robots to become our friends, right?
Yeah.
We sell out to the robots.
We sell out. We sell our bodies.
Yeah.
Our souls and minds to the robots.
That's it. Our labor. Our computing skills.
Yeah.
Our ability to upgrade them, put new software in.
We become their batteries. The Matrix. We're here.
There we go. Maybe we could say to them, listen, I'll be on your side. I'll solve the capture codes. You kill the people that we don't like.
Oh. I'm nervous about our future.
I'm nervous about our future too. I think we're hitting up
Yeah, I think, guys, wow,
we're
it's been
gonna
an
wrap
hour
it
and a
up.
half. We're going to wrap it up.
It's been real.
Because
Thanks, guys, for.
I love that. It's been real. It has.
It has been real, and we've had really.
It's not
good
been
time.
fake.
It's not been definitely not, and everyone's been really amazing. We've had such great conversations. So before next week, I have to start a petition to the Australian government to buy that NFT. What's it called?
Yeah. Every day's the first 5,000 days.
The first
That's
5,000
the name.
days.
Oh. Every time it focuses.
Yeah.
We have to do this.
Oh, we know you don't. Oh.
We have to get this terrible close up. Doesn't matter. We're signing off anyway.
Yeah.
The blur is better for the skin. It's better. Oh no. Okay, it came back.
So many good questions. Why is everyone dumping in right now?
Oh, there's such good questions. Can we save them for next time? Is that alright?
We're gonna save it for next time. Okay, we're gonna talk biological warfare next week.
Wow.
And I'm happy to go through what biological weapons we know countries have been developing because people get caught.
Scary.
It's really hard to develop bioweapons and not get caught. And there's been, in the last 100 years, 13 countries have developed bioweapons.
Wow.
We'll go through them. Stay tuned.
I don't know. They might wipe us out before that.
Good luck to
You
them.
may never know.
I've got my vaccines: AstraZeneca, Pfizer, Moderna. Take one of every single one. Thanks, Tom. Other people who can, I can't believe in it simply because I can't figure out what it's meant to be based on. But basically, natal charts generate the story for you. You get stats from the houses. I would be interested to see D&D characters based on each of the star signs played out. That'd be really fun. So you have a Cancer character, a Pisces, and each of them is the thing. It'd be fun. Maybe we should play. Have you played D&D before?
I always wanted to.
So am I. Maybe we should get.
Wait, you haven't?
I've played it a couple of times. It was really fun.
Never been invited to a game.
Maybe we should start our own one. Maybe we should get a dungeon master to come out and run it with us. What time next week? We generally do like a 7:30, 8:30 thing, but we've got to set up a group. So if you subscribe or you watch our Facebook threads, we're going to set up a group. We don't have a name. We don't have a logo.
Maybe you can help us think of a name.
Please do. And people are going to go move to a more professional studio with everything. And also, I've got in my house, so we might be able to do some fun stuff there.
So yeah, usually around between sort of 7 and or 10, that's Eastern Standard Time in Australia on a Tuesday at PM.
So 2 hours before now to 3 hours before now every Tuesday.
So on my Twitch, which is Lush_ess, I've written there between 7 and 9 EST time. So if you want to be reminded, that's there.
That's it.
Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You are all so intelligent and brilliant. Those questions were amazing, and thank you for your responses.
If there are topics and stuff you want us to talk about, please let us know beforehand because we'll do some reading and we'll discuss it. And a few people have actually. And sorry about missing last week. I was being really busy. Can you play D&D too? I think we could definitely get some guests in.
That'd be so cool.
Can
we play Twitch D&D? That'd be awesome.
We can. In fact, we might even do it as an extracurricular thing one weekend. We'll need to get internet connection, some logistics, and some people who might be able to help out there. Great. Thank you very much, everyone. Pleasure as always.
And to send us the topics you want us to talk about, you can message. Oh, no worries. You can message. When's best? Facebook.
Either of us. Any platform where
my
it's streaming
Instagram.
on now.
LUSH_ESS. That's just message me there.
Yeah.
Come chat.
Especially during the week, if you think about anything, you're like, I want to know more about that. Devin, you missed it. Give us also all of our live streams are uploaded to YouTube to my personal channel at the moment.
Are they?
Yeah,
I
so
didn't
watch
know
them.
that.
So we watch the stream every Wednesday morning.
Man, cool.
Yeah, so I'm like, oh fuck, that guy's really intelligent. I sound like I'm fucking drunk. Which I'm not, by the way.
I hate watching myself back, so I totally avoid those videos.
Did you ever talk about senolytics? We did last week. So
we're gonna do it again.
We're gonna do it again. In fact, we should take some senolytics.
What?
We should take some life extension drugs.
Yeah. Oh, is NAD plus count?
NAD plus does count.
All right.
It's not a senolytic, but it's definitely a life extension drug. And also, Tuesday and Wednesday next week, Singularity University is having an event at UTS in Sydney. So if you're there, come and catch me in person. There's gonna be some really cool people there, and we'll try and get a roundup of some of the cool topics of futurist stuff people are talking about, which is gonna be really interesting.
Can I come?
Yeah, we can even do a live stream from there, an out of order live stream.
Cool.
Awesome. What is the channel? We don't know yet. If you have names for what we talk about, that'd be cool.
The channel, the YouTube channel. What's the YouTube channel?
Like Meow-Ludo or something.
Meow-Ludo.
If you search my name, you'll find the YouTube channel.
Twitch
If
channel.
you search for Meow and Lucy Weekly Roundup, you'll find it. So I'll put some. We'll post some links.
Meow and
in
Lush.ess.
a page. Meow and Lush.ess. We'll think of a cool name. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.